Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling, and you know the drill. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Google, and I'm also on YouTube, primarily YouTube. And looking for all the likes, comments. Welcome your comments. So this is another episode where I go through some cassettes. This is going to be a very short one because there aren't a lot of cassettes to talk about. But these are my Def Leppard cassettes. Not all. Some of these are like the original ones that I would have had, but most of them aren't. I want to go over what I've got on Tim's Vinyl Confessions. This is On Through the Night, and this is a U.S. edition. It's definitely not an original, and I'll show you why that is in a second. If you look really, really close, you will see that it says the first credit date you'll see is 1980 phonogram, and then you'll see 1986 polygram record. So that indicates this was reissued in 1986. Nothing in it for credits, and that is what the cassette itself looks like, the typical cream-colored cassette that polygram used back then. Next up is High and Dry. This is the 1984 version of High and Dry as opposed to 81, and if you don't know what that means, that High and Dry obviously came out in 1981 originally, but it was reissued in 1984 with another version of Bring Another Heartbreak and also Me and My Wine, which was not on the original album but was a B-side of Let It Go. Another way you can tell this is a sort of a closer to mid-80s edition of a Canadian polygram cassette is the QC10 that goes down along the bottom there. That's what the cassette itself looks like. And that's what's in it for credits, which isn't much. Of course, Pyromania comes up next, and that's out. That album's been reissued several times. This is a sort of a mid-90s or later edition, a US version. Actually, hardly anything in it for credits, which I remember the old Canadian edition that I used to have had way more credits. There's the cassette itself, and that's all that's in there for credits. Must have been a budget line issue, so they could charge less for it. What more do I have to say about this cassette? Hysteria. We've done a whole episode on it, and that's the same one that featured in the episode that Matt and I did. So I don't think I need to open that up. Next up is Adrenalize. The thing about going through these cassette collections is that there's albums in here that I don't have on vinyl because they're newer. Although this is available on record. This is a Canadian version. And there's the cassette itself. Still weird to me. Looking at this whole album, seeing pictures of them as a four-piece just doesn't seem right. And again, there's a big write-up in here, like there was inside Hysteria. Next up is Retroactive from '93. I like that album cover with the. So that cassette's really in bad shape. Take it off. Sort of the Optical Illusion album cover. That's what the rest of it looks like. This is a Canadian edition. So, by the way, that album artwork on Retroactive is done by none other than Hugh Syme. Look up his work. He's probably done albums that you like. This is Vault, Best of Def Leppard, or the first Best of to come out. This is a Canadian version of that. And this is one of the last Canadian ones, I think, to have the polygram embossed on the bottom. A lot of the Canadian labels did that. I guess labels did that, not just Canada. That's the cassette itself. The credits are a little chewed up here. I don't have Slang on cassette, although it was on cassette, obviously. So the last cassette I've got to show you is one that I'd actually just bought on CD, but I was so excited when this album came out that I just had to buy it again. And that might sound silly, but Euphoria came out. Really liked that album. It's the last one I really liked all the way through until the brand new one came out that I've done a special episode about. And this is a Canadian edition. They didn't make cassettes too much longer after 1999, which is when this came out. No song titles listed. It's weird to see a cassette with Universal with a .com on there, but it's universalrecords.com and cassette coexisting. There was that brief period. So, nothing in here that's not inside the CD. But what is interesting is that it's got like a half, because that's not the full length of it. I don't know why they didn't just complete it, but that's, and this is also one of those ones that if you don't, pretty much you don't fold it right the first time, you won't get it. So that's my Def Leppard cassette collection. Again, it's not very long, but just wanted to go over it. And I'm sure I'll be adding to the cassettes if I see ones. Like if I saw Slang on cassette, for instance, I'd pick it up. And certainly if I saw anything later, but although their new album, the self-titled album, is available on cassette if you get the Classic Rock Fan Pack edition. I would have liked to have gotten that, but I settled for the CD. Thanks for watching Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Hey, it's Tim Durling, Tim's Vinyl Confessions. This is just a quick, this isn't an episode or anything, it's just something quick I want to show you. I love the idea of new albums coming out on vinyl. That's actually becoming quite popular. Vinyl's kind of made a comeback. But when I started buying albums, it was on cassette. So I think that a few of these bands are picking up on the fact that a lot of their fans are getting to the age where a little touch of nostalgia goes a long way. Now, I've done a full episode and I've talked about how much I'm enjoying the new Def Leppard album, the self-titled one. Well, that's one of those albums that I now own on cassette. Here it is. This is the new Def Leppard album from 2015 on cassette. This is on EAR Music. This looks so strange to see this album on cassette. But the strangeness doesn't end here. I want to show you something else. So, that's that. Open this up. So strange to open up a new cassette tape. Unfold this here. So that's that. It's so far fairly straightforward. You're saying, well, what is it you've got to show us? This is the cassette itself. Logo, song titles on it. But there's something about this cassette that doesn't make any sense at all to me. And only if you're if you're older, you'll understand this. Here's the top of the cassette tape. I don't know if you can see that or not. I hope you can. The recording tabs are still on. In other words, you could record over this cassette right now. Why would they make it like this? I don't understand it. Unless this actually doesn't have any music on it and the idea is they want you to record your CD onto this. I don't know. You know what? Let's pop this in. Let's see if there's any music on this thing. Let's play a bit of it. I don't want any copyright notices. I just want to play a bit of it, see if there's actually music on this recording. Oh, there is. All right, let's go. That's the album. Okay, so there is music on there. Why did they leave the recording tabs on there? Can somebody answer that question for me? Brent's Cassette Cascade, quality as a name. You of all people. Give me a good reason why this new Def Leppard album comes on cassette with the recording tab still there so you can record over it. Why? A mystery to me.